During the 1940s, many of the legendary musicians who shaped the blues and created some of the first rock and roll and country music records would come here to the back alleys of West Memphis and play at some of the more than 30 nightclubs that were here at the time. In fact, West Memphis was wide open for entertainment. Memphis musician Rufus Thomas called it the Las Vegas of the South, if you can believe that. It was during that time, in February of 1947, when radio station KWEM went on the air and was instrumental in jump-starting the careers of many of those legendary musicians.
Blues, soul, rock and roll, country, and rockabilly. All together like cousins at a family reunion on KWEM.
So these photos here in the hallway, Philip, these are just some of the artists that used to perform on the station.
Exactly. Some photos that we were able to find, like this is Willie Mitchell and his combo, played a lot here in West Memphis and also on KWEM. And then here's Howlin' Wolf that had a show with us in KWEM. This is a picture of him actually in the KWEM studios. It's interesting, most of this stuff started back in the early 50s, and that was the wonderful thing about KWEM radio, is that a lot of people came in to play this area, and they were African Americans as well as white ones. You know, Johnny Cash had a 15-minute show with Tennessee 2, sponsored by his the place he worked at was Home Equipment Company. He sold lumber during the day and then played music on the radio for us 15 minutes a day.
And B.B. King over there, I have never, that's the first time I've seen a young B.B. King like that. What, 19, 20 years old?
Yeah, something like that. We've got a great video of B.B. King later in life talking about how he was working in the cotton fields, and at noon they would hook a radio up to a car battery and listen to the radio, and he said they would listen to KWEM radio. So he came up to West Memphis and asked him if he could play on the radio station, because he said, because I thought I was pretty good. And it turns out that he was pretty good.
At the Arkansas State University Mid-South campus in West Memphis is a display replica of the historic KWEM radio studio, which was originally located at 231 Broadway Street. The station broadcasts on 93.3 FM and also on the internet at kwemradio.com.
KWEM, West Memphis.
Philip, compared to what the studio looked like back in the heyday, and this,
Yeah.
it's kind of, I mean, there's nothing to it. This is like an office.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of tubes and diodes and transformers and everything like that. Today's digital world, that's the wonderful thing about it. We're an internet radio station. That's how we started, kwemradio.com. And so anybody that wants to can put out a radio station if there's not involved in the FCC, anything like that. So what we did was took our concept of the KWEM radio in the 50s. It was such a great melting pot, if you will, of such great musical talent. We had B.B. King, we had Johnny Cash, we had Howlin' Wolf, we had Ike Turner was an engineer on the station, and a lot of the people that came into this part, because it was a pay-to-play, it came together. And it was an interesting thing to me was that this was back in the late 40s, early 50s, and it was integrated. We had black people, we had white people on the same station, which was unheard of at the time. So that's kind of a precursor to what we're doing right now. It's kind of nice that all this kind of music comes together. A lot of people say that you took the country music that came from the fields and the blues and the country music and melted together and came in with rockabilly. And that's where it came. Elvis was connected through the station through our Saturday Night Jamboree. KWEM sponsored the Saturday Night Jamboree, not unlike Louisiana Hayride at the time, and had things, and they would record it and then play it back during the day.
KWEMradio.com.
So back when B.B. King was performing on KWEM, another place he performed that's interesting was Miss Annie's.
Yeah, actually, you know, to make a living, they would perform and at night, on the weekends, you know, be on the radio station during the day, but then they would make their money by performing at night. And B.B. King was hired to be sort of the the guy that was a hit with the ladies. And he would play the front end, the front of house at Miss Annie's Diner. And while the gentlemen folks would go to the back and have some drinks, do a little gambling, all of which was legal over here in West Memphis, while he entertained the ladies. So he fashioned himself as a ladies' man.
How about that?